Welcome to Sekhmet Month. This is exactly what it is. The month of November here on my channel is Sekhmet Month and beyond, because really every day is a Sekhmet day, right? And there's so many of us on this channel that have all come together. They heard the lions roar, they saw my Batman sign in the sky, and you came, right? So this is what this is all about, gathering in pride, right? And I'm really excited for the month of November because we have a lot of her sacred days. She is throughout the year, but I mean, November holds a bevy of her sacred festivals and things like that. So this is also very, very indicative of where we are. Old timelines collapse, new one has now like rising within us, and we're really feeling the shift in that. So what's happening now is she's rising from the ashes, Sekhmet rising, heart awakening. Our lion's heart is coming online. Now, when we work with Sekhmet, she always comes in at the beginning, destroys everything through fire, chaos, all the rest of it. And then we go through a birthing, and then we come out, and when we resurrect and we rise, then she comes back in. And for me, it's like Sekhmet rising in us, and that's where the fire, the kind of the phoenix rising from the ashes. So that's kind of why I feel that she's around very much too, over and above the fact that November is indeed her month. Now, as a lot of you may not know, the way this channel works is I always kick off at the beginning of the month with a ceremony. And in this month, it's going to be a ceremony with Sekhmet. That's going to be the 11/11 portal, and it's going to be a live stream, and it's going to be ceremony, right? So I invite each and every one of you to come along, share the information. The more of us, the better. The pride needs to grow now. And this is going to be a time change because I know people's clocks have changed. In Africa here, we don't change. So I'm making it 6 p.m. now, 6 p.m. Central Africa time. That will be the same time for the temple meeting, because that's the Zoom room that we'll be getting into at the end of the month, and that will be deep wisdom teachings with Sekhmet this month, and that will also be at 6 p.m. as well, but I will be posting that information as we go. And lots of stuff I'm going to be sharing in between. Now, in light of this, because there's so much going on, best you subscribe, click your notifications on. So every time I upload something or as a live that comes on, you'll be notified, and you can either jump on it or you can catch up with it after. Because the way I share my work on this channel is very, very alchemical, meaning I really tap into the frequencies. And if you follow the ceremonies, that will guide you into the videos that I share and meditations and things like that. And then we kind of build the energy throughout the month and get that alchemical energy right to its peak, and then we dive into a classroom, aka the temple. So each month you should experience like exponential shifts if you really want to deep dive into this and use these cycles of each month that passes as an opportunity to kind of really go into these wisdom teachings to activate your own wisdom, right? Because this is about remembering, it's not about learning, right? So that is the month of September. Now, because this is one of the first videos, I'm going to be sharing the principles of Sekhmet, but I'm going to do this in two versions because she has 8 principles here. But just on this principle thing, yes, we have the principles Ma'at. Yes, we have the 7 Hermetic principles of Thoth. Now, we can go on with these principles for days, and they're very interchangeable. So if you search up, say, the principles of Anubis, they may be slightly different on somewhere else that you find them, but principles are basically traits, okay, of that god and goddess, and they may vary slightly. So you go with what resonates, which information you're casting your eyes across, and whether you get that connection within, and then you can study any god or goddess's principles like that. So, for example, if it was me and I had my principles, I would be putting in there that it's about authenticity. It would be about facing your shadow. It would be about connecting with the teacher within, and that's what Thoth does. He works with the teachers. So I have like a list of superpowers that kind of like my strengths and my skills that you can say to Marie, what is it that you do? Well, I'm like, well, okay, I'm an initiator, so I initiate people into the mysteries, and then away you go. I'm alchemical decoder, which means I can actually decode ancient wisdom and make it super simple for the Gospel of Marie, and so on and so forth. So in a way, this video would be very nice for you to kind of start thinking of yourself in that manner as you go through this journey with me here on YouTube and Egypt, if you choose for that, or Avalon, or wherever we walk together. You're going to start to keep your focus on your own principles, because those are your superpowers. Those are your principles of Ma'at, because you're an upholder of Ma'at, truth, order, justice, all of the things, right? So we have 8 principles here for Sekhmet. So I'm going to do 4 in this video, and then I'm going to do another 4 in video number 2. So Let's kick off with the first one, shall we? So let's talk about this. Now, first of all, if you are a devotee, let's say, of Sekhmet, a follower of Sekhmet, even though you hold the aspects of her, we are she is we. So we are basically, we seek balance, strength, transformation, compassion. You know, we are powerful healers. You know, we'll find a lot of Sekhmet in us. So these principles that we go through for Sekhmet are the ones that you're actually going to be applying and working with to ignite within you, right? Because then that's how you become the goddess. That's how you become the god, right? That's how you gain mastery, right? So the first one is about balance. Now, this very much echoes Ma'at, because she's an upholder of Ma'at. So we have truth, justice, law, order. So if you think about it like this, like a seesaw, so it's about balance, okay? So meaning truth, law, order, justice, okay? Say it's on one side of the seesaw, and then the other side, you've got discernment and empathy. So you can't just be walking around shouting justice at everybody and telling them that they need to get their shit in order and all this kind of stuff. Even though that's true, we need discernment, meaning knowing when to speak, knowing when to actually not speak, knowing when to step in, be still, whatever, with your delivery. And also as well, having empathy, you know, empathy and compassion. So with your delivery of your messages, your truth teachings, it must always be balanced with empathy and compassion and discernment, right? So that is what we talk about. That's the balance, right? So have you got enough heart balancing out your principles, basically, and how you deliver them, or how, you know what I'm saying? So I've written here, you must be aware of your presence at all times. Where do you deliver such messages from? Have you expanded your lion's heart? Or are you coming from a head-based perspective going, what you're doing is wrong and you need to actually have order? And then what's happening is you're coming from your mind body in a negative way and you're actually lacking the heart conscious codes. So it must always be balanced. You must always be coming from your lion's heart, your place within, and it's all about leadership through love. So if you think about it, leadership is a bully and a divine masculine in the shadow. Just leadership. That's what we've got going on right now. So if you think about leadership through love, that doesn't mean that you're a man pansy, like flipsy wopsy wopsy, you know what I mean? And you're not really doing much because you're all like that because you love. No, it's like, no, it's about love is the most powerful force. And if you couple that with leadership through love, think about that coming together. You're Sekhmet. That's what leadership through love is. Strength, prowess, okay? Integrity, authenticity, presence, taking no shit, emanating all of that, but deeply expanded into your love codes, right? So that's the balance. We can't have more than one and the other. So if you're all kind of like too much in your compassion and your empathy and all that, you're too much in your emotions, you miss the groundings. But if you're too much in your leadership, you're a bully, right? So that's the balance. And that's what we're working towards, right? So I've got my little obsidian here in my hand, balance, okay? So understand love equals leadership in assisting yourself and others in discerning your truth. There you go. I wrote it. Okay, so now principle number two, okay? This is about duality of creation. Duality of destruction and creation. So you have destruction that has to happen first of all before creation can be birthed, right? You have death and rebirth. You can't be born before that can't be the first thing. You have to die to be reborn, right? And then to die reborn, die reborn. Night and day, night is a bit of a death because we go sleepy time and then we wake up in the morning resurrected. Do you know what I mean? So this is duality. This is about understanding the duality of creation and destruction, or destruction and creation. Because think about it this way. Why do your creations and your manifestations not move forward? Why do you feel that you're stuck in your shadow and your darkness? It will be because you haven't quite let go of the thing that needs to be let go of. Okay, to allow space for new things to come in. You have to let go of your old way for the new way to come in. You have to let go of the shadow so it can be allowed to transform into power. Because remember, untapped power, fear is untapped power, right? And that's what we need to unlock to be able to turn it into something you can work with positively, right? So it can be alchemized and transformed. But if you're just wanting to just basically have the creation and you're wondering why it's not happening and you're working so hard towards it, because it's probably you haven't actually surrendered to the death. So what are you dying to surrender? What are you dying to surrender? So there must always be a death. There must always be a death. So that is probably the most critical understanding, critical part of this. You know what I mean? To be able to understand the process of ebbs and flows. I said in the class the other day, we want to stay away from highs and lows because they're extremes. But the ebbs and flows is the death, the rebirth. That is actually a hermetic principle of rhythm. Okay, and like I say, you'll find the hermetic principles all through the gods and goddesses teachings, because that's what binds us all, right? And they're unchangeable. So if you let go, you create more space, right? If you forgive yourself and others, you create even more space, right? And you have to release to receive. So if you find yourself getting stuck up against a brick wall, call in Sekhmet and say, please bring me through your principle. Please help me birth. Maybe this is one of the lessons you need to sit with right now is maybe it's principle number 2 with Sekhmet. So you'd sit in front of your altar and you'd speak to Sekhmet and you'll say, listen, I'm really, really battling with this area. And your principle number 2 is destruction and creation. Can you help me understand and embody and breathe in these ebbs and flows so I can master them? And maybe use these principles just like that. By the time we've completed the 8, you can actually, and you've taken your notes, you can actually sit there and use them like an oracle deck and just maybe put your finger on there, pick one a day. Or you can actually go to the one where you feel and sense that you have problem with or stuckness with, and sit with Sekhmet and work with her on this. It's the most powerful way to deepen your connection with any god or goddess working in this manner. So I wholeheartedly, lion-heartedly encourage it, right? So yeah, so creation is the receiving of what is meant for you. So you cannot receive that if you haven't let go of what it is that you don't need, because remember, you also need space as well. But you can't fight the natural ebb and flow of the death and rebirth process. And essentially that's what we come here to master. So I hope that makes sense. Let that one settle. Okay. So now the next one, number 3. Okay. Being the protector. So protector, upholder of Ma'at. Okay. So in a way, you'll always read and hear that, being a devotee of Sekhmet is standing up for those who cannot speak, being the speaker for those that do not have a voice. But you see, I'm a little bit dodgy with that, because sometimes that makes us actually get involved in people's business and basically start gobbing off and shouting and saying things that maybe might not need to be talked about in that moment. So it kind of gives us it sounds like it's giving us a permission slip to just tell people what we think of them, which maybe sometimes we need to do that. Maybe one needs to find their voice. However, I go back to principle number 1, finding your presence in your lion's heart of discernment and compassion and empathy. And then if you feel the need to apply principle number 3, you need to stand up for somebody who cannot speak. Then you are coming through the leadership of love, leadership through love. And then if you speak and you stand up for someone, it's going to sound completely different, rather than being in that imbalance and just going at someone. So be very discerning, see what I did there, on how you hold your space and how you deliver your messages. Messages through your Sekhmet aspects, as it were. So fiercely loving and protecting your loved ones. Okay. You mess with my cubs, man. That'll be the last thing you do. Do you know what I mean? And I mean that with my children, obviously, but also my friends, my family, my tribe. You're my tribe. If I see an injustice going on, I won't sit with that. You'll always hear me to be quite vocal, but I will say what I think. And sometimes that person needs to hear it. Do you know what I mean? But again, it will come. If it can't come through your lion's heart, sit on it for a little bit. And then when you feel that you're in that present space and you can have that conversation, now that's power. That is power. So it's all about it actually says protection of the vulnerable in pursuit of justice. So in a way, yeah, we are kind of protectors for ourselves and for others, right? Defending what is right. It's your true lion's heart. And that comes back to integrity and authenticity. Don't be taking on other people's belief systems. Don't be just picking up what they've put down just cause, and I'm going to be doing another video on this, because I've got even last week, about 10 days ago, Sekhmet started talking to me about authenticity, about the importance of sharing our unique frequency, our unique soul design with the world, and how we must stay in our lane, focus inward at all times and refrain from looking left to right to what everybody else is doing in the world, because then that just makes you go inside negatively. So it's actually about really embracing, that's her big message right now, about bringing that uniqueness out into the world and really clearing the blocks that's stopping you from doing that, because it's really important that we do not follow anymore. We need to be in our own leadership through love with ourselves. So we have to claim that space instead of being fed by others. So even my opinion, to an extent, sorry, my screen's gone dark. Where's my, there we go. It went dark for me, not for you. So even in my experience, do you know what I mean? It's just like, I always say to people, when you sat with me, go with what resonates and leave the rest behind. Do you know what I mean? And if none of it resonates, fine, but be discerning in your own filter. Okay, that's really, really, really important. And what can happen with us following these spiritual teachings, we can actually get lost into other people's opinions and kind of like forget about ourselves. And that's again what we're going to be doing a lot of in this month with Sekhmet, opening to channel with her. I'm going to help you open up so you can have direct telephone and message from her, because the more you do that, the more you don't have to listen to anybody else, because you have your own inner voice and connection with her, because you are her, right? That's where the power comes in, right? Bringing your sovereignty forward. That's a great way to do it, right? So now number 4, our final point here, alchemy. And this is alchemy through fire. I've put in brackets, okay? Transformation, purification, right? So we know that fire can actually burn away density and shadow and transform, right? We know that fire can cleanse. We also know that fire can ignite. And I think this is where we are right now in these particular moments as we rise from the ashes. It's an ignition of creation, and fire is like woof in the fiery forces of this frequency right now. All the F's, fire ignites change. It ignites change. So if I can leave anything with you today on this particular point, say, for example, you feel a bit lackluster. So what would that look like on a day? Maybe you go through these first four principles and go, do you know what? I'm feeling a bit stuck. Well, go with principle number 4 and just work with that one, with Sekhmet, and just say, right, your alchemy through fire, please ignite it within. Please ignite my lion's heart. Sekhmet, be known through me, to me, around me. And you'll be so surprised at this powerful connection that you have with her. She'll show herself. And she's asking for each and every one of you, including me, to open up a different door to her now, because her demeanor is completely changed. I shared a channel yesterday or the day before, and she was speaking about how her demeanor has changed. We can have a different relationship with her. There's much more that she wants to share with you. And it's now time for you to gain that from your own inner self. I'm here to guide you to a point to get to that own inner self. But then that's why I'm an initiatrix. I initiate you into yourself. But once you're there, then what? You know what I mean? So that's what we're going to be doing. So let me tell you, stick with me, guys. This Pride, this month, we're going to be stepping into our sovereignty like you don't understand. We are going to be a shiny Pride by the end of November. And as I say, I'm traveling to Egypt at the end of November. So so I'm going to have lots to share there. And that's another thing, just to close on this video, that's what's being shared with me as well by Sekhmet. She called me to the land. I had no intention of going to Egypt until next year's tour in May. And she was like, no, you need to come. And I'm walking Luxor Temple to Karnak, specifically for Sekhmet. So whatever is going on between this month of November, I am telling you now that she is calling us into a brand new way, through a brand new filter, into a brand new timeline for ourselves and with her. And Egypt as a whole is calling me back, because it's expanding. The timeline is shifted, and it's happening by the end of November. So I will have much to report, to share with you from the sacred lands. And as we move into December, it's going to be a complete game changer. So I'm still going to put my call to action out to my star seeds that are supposed to be walking with me in May. If that is you, then we need to talk, because what I'm sensing and feeling with what I've just shared with you, it's going to be, it's just going to be ... So yeah, this is an exciting month to be Sekhmet alive. I'm going to share with you tomorrow or the next day the second part to this video. It will be called part 2, and we can then go into the final principles. But for now, let this digest, enjoy, put it into your lion fire, and let me know how you get on. Much love, much peace, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace out.